Alright, so I'm out of class now, and this is my time to talk about the devvision. Crazy things! We're so back. We're so back. There's a lot of nothing burgers that I thought were in here. Like, for an example of a nothing burger, they said of the placement matches. You will gain... We now add your personal performance into the mix when we calculate it. Except your placement matches aren't really placement matches. It resets you a few ranks. If you win, you gain points to go up to the next rank. As I know it, is it resets you down 3-ish ranks, and then every game you win or lose points, and you go up. So, like, if I win all 10, I go up and up and up. At least that's the only way I've ever experienced it. I've only seen one person saying that they won more of their matches and went down, and that sounds crazy, but I've never seen it that way. I've never heard it that way. Anytime I heard it explained is that way. So if I'm wrong, correct me. Crazy things. CC is getting nerfed. Kinda. I'm pretty sure from how they explained it, it's like, if you get CC'd multiple times. So like all my least favorite team comp videos, you just stop getting affected by the CC as much, which is, I think, is a pretty cool way of doing it. Balancing looks pretty good. They were like, we don't want to eradicate triple support entirely. I agree. I hate to break it, I agree. I think triple support is necessary for this game to thrive. But it's necessary for this game to thrive in the same way that triple DPS and triple tank is necessary. But none of those have the same success as triple support. They also just kind of said, showed the stats and went, here you go, here's numbers, you're wrong, nobody plays triple support anymore, and even when they do, they're bad and they lose. And like, I think that's just because most of the people in those ranks don't want to play it. Like, how often are you in your, like, even, I'm not that good, I'm in GM, people don't start on triple support. They don't want to play triple support. They start losing because there's so much damage coming in, and then they go to triple support. So I do think triple support is super strong. They did mention that, like, they don't really steal ult charge. Actually, they said the opposite, sorry. They said, but there's trade-off, because they steal ult charge from each other. Bullshit. I don't think I have ever been in a scenario where I am playing triple support, or the enemy team is playing triple support, and they don't have an ultimate ready to go. Unless they're just constantly double support ulting, never happens. Because once one person stops getting ult charge, they can just hold it, and all of them go slower. But you know how fast Cloak and Dagger gets theirs? You know how fast Gambit can get his? You know how fast Rocket can get his? As soon as they have it, they just hold on to it, and then they go first. And then the other people can do damage, and the supports, I hate to break it to you, they do a lot of damage. They do a lot of damage. I've said it for a while now. Outside of the top meta DPS, the top 10, 15 DPS, there is no reason to play, and even like within there, right, I'd even say that within there, there's no reason to play a DPS character. Because like you could play DPS, or you could just play Loki, do damage, frontline pressure, grab a DPS ult if you really want to use a DPS ult, because you'll have 3 ults anyways. Like, there's no real reason to do it, at least in a casual sense, right? Because, sure, at the top levels you get more and more value the better you get, but where I'm at, there's a lot of times where if I'm not doing good on tank and we only have one support, if we only have one DPS, I'm not filling a second DPS. I'm either staying on tank and trying out different things, or I'm playing support. Because 4 supports is genuinely better. Sorry, we only had... Yeah, 4 supports would genuinely be better, depending on which one I choose. And even then, one of my supports will go tank. Like, there's just no point in me swapping to DPS in that scenario. But, I think it's pretty good. They addressed that ultimates. They're like, oh yeah, we upped it so that way the battles would be faster. And we understand that the faster battles could be tiring. It's obviously a script. I'm not mad at Ziyong and Guang Guang. They're my boys. But the way their scripts write kind of make me mad sometimes. Because they're like, yeah, we did this so it would go faster, but in doing so, we understand that it could potentially be tiring to play over and over again. You just admitted that in increasing the battles and the ultimate efficiency charge, battles essentially become stare down main, shoot the tanks, and shoot the tanks. If so, you can see someone on off angle, shoot them and pressure them, but most of the time people don't have time to get on the off angles because of how many ultimates are being shot out. But I think the change that they made is really good, and we're going to get into that right now. Segue. I'm getting really good at this. So segue into the ultimate charges. So everyone gets roughly 20% less, right? So it takes them 20% longer to cook up an ultimate. But the way they did it is really cool. So tanks and DPS still get it roughly the same amount, I assume. They still get... You gain ultimate in two ways. Doing damage and... I think it's doing damage, blocking damage, healing, and passive. I think those are the 4 ways you can get it. So DPS, primary way they're going to get it is doing damage. Tanks, doing and blocking damage. Supports, healing, and then secondary would be doing damage. So for supports, you gain less from not healing. So that way you can actually steal ult charge from each other. Because it used to be pretty forgiving. You would get ultimate passively, even if you're not doing the same healing as your other teammates, you're going to get ult roughly the same time because it's super forgiving with its passive ult gain. But now it's not going to be. It's way more focused on actually healing, and they can steal ult charge from each other better. I think that will kill triple support in a lot of ways. Not kill it. I think that will move away from sustained triple support because you won't have the ultimates for it, and move into what triple support should be. So triple support with Mantis or with Atom or with Ultron for a different team comp, more flexibility. Because right now, those characters are harder to play and don't win as much simply because why would you play them when you could play anyone who can sustain, and then the damage that you're doing on that character, you do more damage than a typical support. You're getting out-healed regardless, so what are you doing on that character? You can't even heal your team. With the exception of Mantis, because the higher up you go, the better Mantis gets, because the better coordination everyone has, the more people understand what they're supposed to do, blah, 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 blah. But I really like it. For DPS and Vanguards, you gain less for doing damage. They took more away from the amount you gain from doing damage, but not as much away from your sustain. So roughly for all characters, 20% slower ult charge. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, when I first heard it, and I was like, 20% slower, Moon Knight's still gonna get his first. Well, if it's less for doing damage, it might actually shake things up in that department. I think that's really good. On pause. So they talked about poke versus dive, which was really interesting because they didn't mention Brawl at all, and Brawl is what's really been suffering, because even though Dive has been bad, it's not the worst thing you could play in this game. Like, every time you complain about Dive characters, think, shit, at least I'm not playing Brawl. At least I'm not playing fucking Blade or some shit, right? But they were like, poke characters need to be able to defeat dive characters and shoot them on off angles and continuously harass, which I think is correct when they're on the off angles and everything, but they shouldn't be the one killing the dive characters primarily. That would be Brawl. Brawl characters are better at and should succeed more in killing and doing anti-dive. And it's why Thor can be such a good anti-dive if you play him correctly, because he can ground them, he doesn't require the most skill, so in 1v... he requires a lot of skill, mechanical skill, to hit your shots. It's just swinging the hammer. So you don't have to be, like, pinpoint accuracy. You can just get in their face, block them off, like, block... If it's a Venom, you genuinely block where the tendrils are going with your body. You can ground them. You doesn't take as much to hit them as it takes for the Venom to hit you. He's good at stuff like that. His shift disrupts. Brawl characters should have been the focus of that part, I think, but it was just kind of them defending that no, poke should be this strong. blah blah blah. But I think the balance changes that they give are very good. So let's go over them real quickly. They're buffing DPS Deadpool, Black Panther, Blade, Hulk. A bunch of the dive characters are going to get buffed, and a bunch of the brawl characters, it looks like, brawl and dive. Hype, as long as don't become too overpowered. Like Black Panther kind of concerns me, because while Black Panther is bad, he's hard to play against, especially the better the Black Panther is, right? Where genuinely I'm not a support main, so maybe that's on me, and it's because of lack of experience, but I've had times where I am killed by a Black Panther, and it feels damn near unreactable. And I go, oh shit, dude, what? Well, fuck me in the ass, dude, what am I gonna do about that? And even when I can react to it, they're always on the other side of me. I feel like I just gotta look forward and try and shoot them when they hit in front of me, because if I keep trying to track them all around behind, but I'm never gonna see them, right? So Black Panther kind of scares me, but for the rest of them, dude, give them something without making them overpowered. Yes, please. Daredevil is the only exception. He's getting a nerf. Well, not the only exception. There's other characters who are getting a nerf. Iron Man, Wanda, and Luna Snow are getting a buff. Luna Snow was not meta for like one season, dude. They went, oh, she's not meta, we're gonna buff her. She still wasn't meta, they buffed her again. But other than that, I think it's goated. I think those characters, well, not Wanda. Not because I hate Wanda or anything, but just because she was fine. She was good at what she was good at. Like, the reason why she was bad wasn't because she was a terrible character to pick. Her stun's very annoying. She's good at tracking dive characters, hitting with the right click, like, takes skill. It's just that, like, you could play other characters, which is why it shouldn't have as much value. And for a character that is supposed to be easy to play, and like a beginner, you can pick up the game without any experience and be able to play the game, I don't think she should outclass people who can do things better than her. But that's just my opinion. Luna Snow, Iron Man definitely needed a buff. He was just a walking bullet magnet. Emma Frost, Invisible Woman, Gambit, nerf! Magic nerf? Question mark. Because I don't know quite what that means. But they said and others, so there's definitely going to be other people that get nerfed. But those are the 4 they showcased. I've never gone up against a goated Magic, but I know she has a super high win rate, so maybe she's really good. But yeah, that sounds fucking awesome. I honestly don't think Emma needs nerfed. Sorry, those characters aren't getting nerfed. They said they're getting tuning for the new environment. I assume that means Gambit and Invis are going to get nerfed. I can only assume. Well, we know Gambit's going to get nerfed. I'll talk about that in a minute. But Emma seems balanced. Magic always feels balanced, so maybe it just has to do with the way they're getting changed a little bit. But then they say that Gambit's ultimate is going to be the focus of his nerf. Which makes me think everyone in that previous panel's getting nerfed, but we'll figure that out later. They're gonna nerf his ultimate for once in our goddamn lives. It could not be more hype. But yeah, crowd control, it's getting a little bit of a nerf. The placement matches are getting, hopefully, an improvement. It's pretty cool. I think this has been a very, very good devvision, and I hope that everything they say comes out in the best way possible. That's going to be about it from me. Wet Willy! That's my slimy gremlin ass hunched over, trying to edit that shit. I forgot to mention, we get 3 bands now. 3 bands now. At the cost of lowering the actual band rate, like the time you have to ban. But you know what? I think that's fine. Alright, now I'm out of here. Peace out.